I was lucky enough that Marvel came to me with the Black Panther project and told me they wanted me to rewrite the origin of this character to introduce him to a new audience before the movie came out. There were some things that I couldn't do with the character, but Marvel gave me complete creative freedom to tell the story any way that I wanted to. So there are some barriers to what you can and can't do, but my experience with Marvel has been that they're very open to new ideas as long as it's a good idea. There are many things that are worth sacrifice, but the first thing that immediately comes to mind is my children. I love my children and I would sacrifice myself for them in a heartbeat. So my first immediate answer would be, of course, for the children. I was lucky enough that I grew up in a household of teachers. My father taught science and my mother taught English. In fact, my mother wanted to be a writer, but instead of becoming a writer, she instead decided she raised her children. So my mom is my biggest inspiration. I'm still trying to get her to write her first book. She's always wanted to write and she's never had the opportunity. So I would say she's my biggest inspiration. I sincerely hope that racism is going to be eradicated in the world in my lifetime. And any little bit that I can do to get us to that point would be great. Unfortunately, I think we as human beings are still evolving and we still have these artificial barriers between each other. But hopefully, by the time my children get to be adults, racism will be gone in this world.
Okay.
I wish someone had told me when I was younger that you have to read everything. You don't only read newspapers, you have to read romance novels. You have to read sci-fi novels. You have to read westerns. You read everything you can get your hands on and you make that part of your own repertoire for when you write. The more you read, the better you write. When I was young, I only read science fiction books because science fiction was what I loved. But when I got older, I needed to figure out how to write in different ways because even science fiction stories have romance in them. But I had never read a romance novel, so I didn't know how to write one. So I learned later on in life that you have to have a wide variety of books in your house to read. I wish someone had told me that a lot earlier. No, I became a journalist because I grew up on a farm and I didn't have anything to write about when I was young. So I decided that becoming a journalist, I would find things to write about in my novels. So my journalism background was a great start to write books. Wow, there have been so many journalists have been so great. It's hard to pick just one, but some of my influences have been Frederick Douglass, have been writers like Marcus Garvey, and there are so many great journalists in Washington, D.C. right now. I would feel bad about naming any one, but I like them all. We all do great work. Well, hopefully I'm a good role model for my children. That's first and foremost. But if someone can look at me and look at the things that I've done and it inspires them to work for their dreams, then I think I've done the right thing.
Okay.
I would like to be asked what would be coming up for me in the future. And the answer to that is that I plan to write more books. I plan to move away from writing books as well into writing screenplays and writing movies and writing plays. So I intend to do a lot of more different writing in my future. It's just that there's so many things you can do. that I want to do them all. So but it'll always revolve around writing. First and foremost, I'm a writer. I know that's what I do for a living. That's what I love to do. So no matter what else I do in the future, it will always revolve around writing. Well, first of all, I'm not sure God's a him. God might be a her. But the question that I would ask is there a overall plan for humanity? And how are we doing on it?
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.